Fill the sink with water and leave the faucet open. Put the ball under the jet and see how fast it starts to rotate. And if you start moving the jet, then the ball will follow it, remaining in the stream. Now, we tie it to a thread and relaunch it into the jet. It seems to stick to it, but due to effort, you can still pull it out. If your ping pong ball has got a dent, then to straighten it, it will be enough to lower it into boiling water for a couple of seconds. Oops! And the ball has returned to its original shape. You can use it again. Or you cannot boil the water, but just bring the lighter to the crumbled ball, but at its distance so as not to float it. In a matter of seconds, both the original shape and the former jumping ability return to him. He looks like a brand new one. Turn on the hairdryer at maximum power and place the ball in the airflow. It begins to float in the air, moving up and down. It stays even in the flow even if you tilt the hairdryer. Add a second ball, and now they are both floating. We will substitute a bushing over them and they abruptly fly through it. Let's see again. And here's the maximum angle at which a ball will still stay in the steam. Let's take the most ordinary cocktail tube, bend it at right angles, lean it against our lips and start blowing hard inside, and put a ball on the other end. See how fast it rotates, and at the same time it remains on the tube. The duration depends only on your lung volume. And now the same trick, but with the funnel. We blow into it, and the ball begins to rotate. Even if it's not for long, it's harder than it seems. But why torture yourself if you can just attach a funnel over a hairdryer? Let's see what this device is capable of. Don't leave the ball far away. Place it as close as possible and it starts spinning just at breakneck speed. Wow! Let's look at how high the ball usually bounces if you don't give it acceleration. Decent, but surely you can do more. Of course you can. Let's take a glass of ordinary water. There shouldn't be a lot of it, just enough to put the ball in the center and stay afloat. Now we throw the glass and the ball literally shoots into the ceiling. Let's do it again. Just look at the power. If it wasn't for the ceiling, it's not known how far the ball would have flown. Have you ever set fire to a ping pong ball? Let's compare its Gorenge process with Gorenge paper. Wow! This is a powerful flame. It even makes him move. The ball burns much faster than paper. Who would have thought? Now, we will take the ball and use scissors to cut it into small pieces. Then, we will need a small sheet of foil. We put the pieces of the former ball inside the sheet and wrap it exactly like a candy wrap. Then another layer of foil, also quite tightly. Let's put our candy in an empty aquarium. Bring the fire and start gradually heating the foil until suddenly smoke appears. Take your hands off and look! There's a release of flame as if from a flamethrower. See in slow motion how beautiful it is. But do not try this at home. Yeah, it's like there's a real fire-breathing dragon in the aquarium. Although, sometimes you can get a smoke bomb instead of a pillar of fire. But, in my opinion, it also looks cool. We will bring it to the fire as you can see. It does not burn, only gradually melts. Then, we'll take the ashes and dip the sugar into it. We bring it to the fire again, and this time the sugar starts to burn. Even if you remove it from the candle, the fire does not disappear, and the sugar is covered with the crust and then completely explodes. That's how it was. But sometimes sugar can burn out without exploding. Why do you think it started burning at all? Fill the glass with refined sugar to the top. And then completely immerse in it warm water. After a while, some of the sugar dissolved in the water and some remain lying in the bottom. Now, add a little potassium permanganate to the liquid. As you can see, it stays on the surface without sinking to the sugar at the bottom, even if we start to stir it. In ordinary water, potassium permanganate immediately attends to the bottom and mixes with water. No matter how much we interfere, the result is the same. And after 20 minutes, the liquid turns brown at all. Although half with sugar does not change, let's try adding green dye to one glass and iodine to another. Stir and get the same result as with potassium permanganate. And now there will be a trick. Look carefully. Let's make a number and write it on a sugar cube. We throw it into the water and stir it. Now, hold our hand over the water and the number miraculously appears on the palm of your hand. And here's the secret. We just print a number with the sugar on our finger, and then we put it in the palm of a person. That's all. Let's take a balloon and the funnel. With this help, we will pour sugar inside. Let's take a bottle of soda and pull our balloon on the neck. Try not to spill the sugar. Now we start and watch how the foam and gas quickly fill the ball. Oops! It's not easy to keep it up. Let's try it with other sodas. After all, the most powerful thing came out with cola. But now, we see that balloons inflated with gas stand and on the bottles exactly. Put a wooden board on a baking sheet and pour little sugar on top. Now add dry potassium permanganate to it. We mix these substances with the wooden stick, and then we begin to crush them, turning them into a homogeneous dust. A little more pressure, and a fire breaks out. What a powerful flame! In no case, do not repeat it at home. This is a very dangerous experiment. Let's take some food wrap and make 2 identical squares of it. Pour about 2½ tablespoons of sugar on each. Add a 1/4 spoonful of starch to one of the squares. Mix and begin to wrap in the bag. We will tie it with the thread several times for reliability. We do the same with the second film, but with the thread of a different color. Cut off the excess and put both bags in a bowl of water for 30 minutes. And then take them out. Now add iodine to the container with water and dissolve it. We will hang our bags over the solution and cover them with the lid. After 12 hours, changes are visible. Pour out the sugar for clarity. With pure sugar, almost nothing happened. But sugar mixed with starch acquired an ashen color. In a bowl, pour a few spoons of powdered sugar, and then add a little soda. Now we pour our sand on a baking tray and pour alcohol on it so that it gets soaked. Pour our mixture on top, level it, and ignite the alcohol. A chemical reaction immediately begins. The mixture begins to turn into a black mushroom-like appendicus, like monsters from TV series of One of Us. It looks creepy, but at the same time, fascinating. And that's what remains in the end. There's a charm in this figure. Let's take sulfuric acid and very carefully begin to impregnate refined sugar with it. Add a little bit and the sugar gradually begins to turn black. Continue until all the sugar turns black. Now we just watch. We see how the liquid begins to flow out of the sugar, and then it begins to deform and grow, faster and faster. Gas is already starting to be released, and the sugar itself seems to be boiling. Finally, the reaction is completed, turning the sugar into a soft, sticky black mass. It's time to conduct a larger experiment. Fill a glass jar with granulated sugar about halfway up, and now let's move on to the most dangerous part. Pour the sulfuric acid inside and start stirring everything as quickly as possible until the reaction begins. Now it only remains to observe from a safe distance. Again, the substance begins to gradually turn black, and then gas and smoke appear, after which a huge black something begins to crawl out. Somewhat resembles a slug from outer space, causes ambiguous emotions. As you can see, the mass has risen much higher than the volume occupied by sugar and acid. Let's take a closer look. Wow, this thing is hot. Break off a piece. As you can see, it crumbles easily in your hands.